Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having an amazing day. Happy Friday to you. Regardless of this red here, we're seeing still really good stuff there. Hopefully you're in the green and taking some profits there from Ethereum. What I want to do is talk a little bit about some big picture stuff with Ethereum. We can look at some high block capital data here and just kind of see roughly what's going on in the back end there, so we understand more specifically, how what's going to happen next, because liquidation levels tell us a lot. We also have some updates here, just kind of jumping right into the fundamentals. On our Twitter, we've been sending out some updates here regarding Ethereum. Take a look here. We've got Ethereum did drop by about 7% on Kraken today. Obviously, much more now at this point, but it's being forced to unstake their ETH according to the SEC. So roughly 1.3 million Ethereum was dropped because of selling pressure, and now Bitcoin selling off. We're seeing even more. Keep in mind too, also there's about 51% of staked ETH that was locked up at prices that are higher than they are today. So there's a lot of people that are still underwater with their staked ETH. So it might take some time before they decide they want to unlock it as well. Okay, so just some stuff on the back end that's really helpful to understand. But let's just jump right into the high block capital data here. This is basically a liquidation heat map for the last 7 days. Kind of tells us the overall areas in which we have the most amount of open positions. In other words, these could be liquidations. These could be things that people had put as an open entry, basically a stop loss or a limit order, and essentially never fully filled that. Okay, so again, we got a lot at about 22,000. That tells us we have some resistance there if the price were to come back up to that level. We also have the most amount, second most amount, if you will, right around the 18,250. So 1825. So 1825 is effectively the lowest point we should see the price come down, and 2200 is the top. So what that does, it tells us we are in somewhat of a range. It's a very large range, of course, but that does help us narrow down kind of parameters there for dollar cost average targets. Now, we could talk about dollar cost average targets right now just before we jump in, so you can understand, because I get this question a lot, and I send this out on Twitter as well. By the way, please help us grow our social media. Links down below. Go ahead and register for those, or more importantly, just follow us and get more information. We're sending about 25 to 30 tweets a day, all fundamental data and obviously charting as well. So when it comes to Ethereum, though, here's the places in which you really commonly see retracement areas. In other words, we got 0.382, 0.5, and 0.618. What that translates into is roughly about 2020. That would be a good dollar cost average target if the price were to bounce, because that's the most recent high. Same thing as well with about 1980 and subsequently 1944. Those are three good dollar cost average targets here based on Fibonacci retracement levels. Those are typically areas in which I like to focus on. Now, taking a look at the daily, what we want to look at here, of course, is the fact that even though it's a green candle, you can kind of see that this green candle up here, hold on, let me move this guy. You can see that this is creating somewhat of a gravestone doji candle. Now, it hasn't closed officially yet, but just say we close closer to 2000 instead of 2050, then we'd be absolutely with a full-on gravestone doji candle, and it would imply that further downside would be likely. So at that point, if I see something along those lines, I would absolutely short. In fact, I have a small short myself, with Ethereum as well, and it's just one of those things where, it just makes sense to short that kind of top because it was super overextended. While we're up over 70 on the RSI, there's a chance we could see a bouncing point and it could come higher. So do not, by any means, just take what I just said as a sign to go short. But a lot of proof here is telling us that it's overextended. It makes sense it would pull down. But again, stranger things can happen. We've seen a lot of volatility here recently, a lot of money coming to the market. That does change things a lot. That being said, we're under 70 on the RSI for the 4 hour. This is a good sign for swing traders. So if you are swing trading, there's a great chance that the price action could come down further. We could see a divergence here. While the daily does still look strong and overextended, the 4 hour is overextended and starting to pull back. See, we hit this 9 on TD sequential. We should have literally turned around right there at about 2000. Greed is a very real thing, and it occurred, and it shot the price up to about 2135, 2140. And now we're retracing. Big surprise. So we're roughly about 1 4-hour candlestick into this potential of 36-hour continuation of the downside. So I would just kind of be patient. Consider a short. I'm not saying to open that yet. We don't have full-on confirmation, but there's a lot of stuff on the horizon here that looks like it could very well shift the momentum downwards. Just, I'm speculating we're going to see that gap at 20,000 filled by Bitcoin. And if that were to occur, then Ethereum would absolutely be in the 18 to 1900 range again. Okay, so I like the sound of that because that's more buying opportunity for dollar cost average targets on the way down. Okay, because again, with something like this, when it continues to run, it keeps running, and it's good to get these little bonuses where you can kind of get in at a slightly lower price point. So consider adding to your position, of course, but I would recommend waiting for those dollar cost average targets. On the hourly, we can see here, we are overextended. We hit up to an 8, of course, and then previously a 9, so you can see this pretty significant increase there, followed by a 5 here. So we're about 5 hours into this continuation. So what that does, that puts us at the end of today's traditional trading day close, right around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as the max point, in which we'll probably be at a 9 by that level. So it could be a bouncing point at that time, or it could do exactly what it did previously, consolidate as support and lose support and go down. This is pretty much what we saw here. Price action comes up, ascending wedge, price wiggles itself into a wedge pattern and breaks up. We can see the very exact same thing happen down here. So if you start to see the price kind of work itself closer and closer to the support at 20,200, sorry, I keep saying that, I apologize, 2020. So 2020 is effectively the pricing point that we want to pay attention to. If we lose 2020, it could very well come lower. All right. That is essentially what we're looking at there. Last thing I want to kind of look at would be just say these long, basically a short signal for Ethereum if we have any of those. So if we take a look here, we had a short signal here for us. This is our CC Golden indicator right there at about 2120. So congrats to my community members who are using that indicator successfully. It's really awesome to be able to see that, by the way. In fact, if we take a look here, we can see with our trade results here recently, for our community, we've got some amazing members catching some really nice long positions here recently, and these were all caught with a CC Golden indicator. Okay, so congrats again to all my members using that, but here's the bottom line. It's based on overextension, and we were extremely overextended here on the 15-minute, and it's basically telling us that we should have shorted a long time ago. So had you taken that entry, it'd be about 3% up, or 30/60% if you're using 10 to 20x leverage. Again, just something to think about. That is available on our homepage. Of course, you want to consider purchasing that, but either way you look at it here, Ethereum isn't in dire straits. I'm not trying to cause any concern or fear, but it would make sense that we see consolidation efforts and a retracement to some of those more closer Fibonacci retracement levels here, right here at about 2020, 1980, and again 1943 as a round number. Okay, I think those will be the most immediate ones, but again, the main reason why is because price typically will retrace to that halfway point when you come up this hard as fast. Okay, and this previous resistance level is going to be turned support. So 1942 should be the absolute lowest we're going to see for Ethereum in the immediate future. But once again, stranger things can happen. It could definitely come lower if once more Bitcoin decides it wants to go all the way down to the 18,000 mark to get that CME gap filled, or sorry, correction, the 28,000 mark, and then also potentially 25 for that other. All right, that's all I have for you today. Hope you learned something here today. Of course, you want to become a better trader, CryptoCash.tech is the site. Be sure to locate our partners here as well. We've got a promotion with Bybit right now where they're offering a free airdrop. All you got to do is use that link down below to qualify. So check that out in your own time, and if you can, follow us on social media. Greatly appreciate it. Hope you have a good rest of your day. See you next one.